If there is travel in your future over the holidays, especially with your aging parent, there are some things that you want to make sure you've thought of ahead of time.
Yeah, it's something that you want to plan ahead for to make things easier, especially around the holidays, because you want to have a good time, whether it's Thanksgiving or the December Christmas season. So whatever it's going on.
Michael Braun is with us. He is joining us. His company is called ToppFlight. And he is someone who has a business helping people be able to travel with their aging parents, or helping get them to where they need to go. So thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
You know, Michael, I have traveled with my mom in the not too distant past, and I did realize that there were things that I needed to allow for, whether it was just extra time, having things with me, similar to, I guess, back when I was traveling with my young children. You just have to really plan ahead. So give us some ideas of some things that we can do to make the travel a lot easier for them and for us.
Of course. Thank you. So what I've noticed throughout travel and assisting seniors with travel, the biggest thing is scheduling a direct flight, making things less stressful with not having connection flights. The others are having a list of, for the clients or family members, of course, having a list of medications, medical information with the family members. So if anything, God forbid, were to happen during the flight, you'd have all that information with you. Just having the information to give the airlines or personnel that has to help with the family member, having that available, having the information for family members on the receiving end, also having your time that you're expected to arrive, of course, having that available as well.
Yeah. Sometimes you just can't help. You may have connections. You may have to drive if you're going, in our case, going from Austin to Dallas or Austin to Houston, and you have a long drive or you have a long flight with connections, and you just can't help it. But I think there's some things you can do to kind of plan for that, just to kind of help, not say pass the time, but to make the time more enjoyable.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I find that it helps with our patients that I've helped assist with their travel. They had to have certain medications, facilities that would pick them up at the receiving end. They would have to have those patients there at a certain time to pick up. So it definitely helps having everything scheduled and in accordance to medications with the arrival with the patients when they're getting in.
Well, and I think one thing that I discovered was that you forget how much walking you do in an airport until you're actually doing it with somebody who may be moving a little slower. So what are some suggestions as far as, do you try to reserve a wheelchair to help get them through the airport? Do you ask for the little drivers, to be able to take you places? Is that something that you would suggest?
Yes, good point. And I'm glad you mentioned that. During the reservation opportunity to when you're checking in is requesting or actually booking the flight you're going to request for wheelchair assistance. And that's what we all do as the travel companions will help push the wheelchair, assist the patient throughout the airport with their luggage, but also with taking them up to the gate and then waiting with them directly while they're at the gate. Absolutely. But a good point. Make sure that you check that they need the wheelchair assistance.
I think one fear that a lot of us might have is, well, we'd love for mom or dad to come down to visit us, to drive over, to ride the bus, ride the train, whatever it may be, whatever mode of transportation. But sometimes they have to do it by themselves, and that can kind of scare us. So what are our alternatives in that respect?
Another good point. I just had a post today with taking some pictures on a recent trip this past weekend with a line from Maryland coming into Florida. There were at least 10 people, seniors, waiting in line to board the plane with only one family member that was with the significant other. With us having us there, we of course, are with you throughout the duration, but it's nice to have somebody with you. You're not alone. You're not having to go through the stress of traveling. Stressful for us that don't have special needs. So having somebody with you, if you need something, we're right there with you.
Yeah.
What are some things that we can take along with us as far as, just I'm trying to think of, when I was traveling with my young children, we'd make sure we had lollipops and, things, books or coloring books to keep them occupied. What are some things that might be helpful for us to have kind of in our back pocket or in our backpack, if you will, for our aging parents?
Of course. Again, going back to medications, a good majority of our senior family members or friends are on medications. So having that current list of medications, a snack to go along with for those patients to take with their medications, and also some beverages, of course, once you get through security, taking those so that way the patients have something to drink. The staff, though, on the airlines are very accommodating as well for senior clients.
Yeah, and maybe something for them to do, whether they like to knit or they might like to color or just do something with their hands to keep them busy.
Well, that's where knowing their personality and knowing what they spend their day doing. My mom for years loved to do crossword puzzles or Sudoku. So, if that was there, that would pass a lot of time. And even if she didn't get very far in it, she still had something to do and something to think about.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So definitely I think what I'm hearing is the importance of having being able to have somebody to go with them, whether it's us as the family member or being able to find somebody like what you do to go along with them to help get them safely there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A good majority of the clients working with their families, children are out of state, and most of our seniors are living here in Florida. And at a certain point, they're not able to take care of themselves. So they need somebody to bring them closer to family. So yes, having somebody to go along with. Absolutely.
Do you hear that all the time? Do you have people calling you or emailing you or however contacting you and say, oh my gosh, my mom's in Florida and I've got to get her here to Texas or I've got to get her to California. I don't know what to do. Help. Is it that type of almost panic?
Yes, absolutely. This past weekend is a prime example. My client's daughter, she's a nurse, lives in West Palm Beach, and her mom was up in Pennsylvania and just recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So she was concerned with being able to handle her mom and these new behavioral issues going along with the Alzheimer's, that she knew she needed somebody to go help and assist with that whole process of traveling. So absolutely.
And I think it's interesting that you started this because in your work as a therapist, you saw a need for this.
Absolutely. We've had many patients in a rehab facility, short stay rehab facility that I work in, and patients that could ambulate, get up out of a wheelchair and walk to their plane seat. The only option that families were presented with through the social workers in rehab facility were MedFlight, which is a great service for people that cannot walk and need more medical attention. But for those folks that are able to walk and don't need a direct medical supervision of a nurse and physician, commercial airline is the way to go, and it's a lot less expensive than $20,000 to $30,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, Michael, thank you so much for your time, and hopefully anyone who has any questions can reach out to you and you can give your expert advice to them.
Of course. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hopefully this will give people just some tips of things to just be aware of. And if nothing else, really remembering that you have to plan ahead, allow for extra time, just know that it's going to be, it's just going to be something that you have to get used to. And it's just a different way of traveling.
It's like everything we've talked about. It seems like over the past several months, you have to plan ahead. It'll make things so much easier on all of us.
If you have suggestions or ideas for topics you would like us to cover, just let us know. parentingagingparents.com.